The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Oh no! Oh! 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 Help us! Help us!
I hate to see Mordecai in this state. He's been mourning, wearing sackcloth and ashes, and he refuses the clothes that I've given him. Where are my eunuchs? Hey, Tatch! Go to Mordecai and find out what's going on.
Tell the queen. Tell the queen that Haman has issued a decree against our people. He's even offered to pay the king to facilitate our execution. Look at this. This is a copy of the decree. Take this to Esther. She needs to go to the king and beg and plead that he save our people.
Well, tell him all the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces know that any man or woman who goes into the inner court to the king who has not been called, he has but one law: put all to death, except the one to whom the king holds out the golden scepter, that he may live. But in the last 30 days, the king hasn't called for me to see him at all.
Tell her, do not think in your heart that you will escape in the king's palace any more than all the Jews. For if you remain completely silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. Yet, who knows? Esther, who knows? You may have come to the kingdom for such a time as this.
Okay, tell Mordecai, go gather all the Jews to be found in Susa and hold a fast on my behalf. And do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my young women will also fast just as you do. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish.
In today's episode, we are diving into a powerful chapter of Esther. Here we witness Queen Esther grappling with the critical decision that could cost her her life, but save her people. As she finds the courage to act, we explore the themes of faith, bravery, selflessness that resonate in this pivotal yet powerful moment in her story. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay
and Earl Roberts. Hope everyone had a great week. Gotta love the Sabbath, man. Gotta love the peace it brings. The break from a stressful week, a long week, a tiring week. But nonetheless, God still brought you through, still blessed you throughout it all. And it's just great to be at the Sabbath, man. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, bro. Had a long day. As you can see, I might look a little out of it. You know what I mean? But to God be the glory still. You know?
Amen.
How about you?
Same. Tried to do a power nap before, and I don't know if that worked or had side effects. But either way, we here showing up every week even though this episodes aren't live, but you guys get it. We still record these every week, regardless. But God is good, man. God is good, and it's a blessing. But we're getting close to 200 episodes. That's wild.
That's crazy.
That is wild.
200.
Go for it.
No, just 200. That's it.
Yeah. So for this week for weekly thought, it's gonna be like a mini discussion. Saw this earlier in the week. I honestly haven't given it much thought, but I just set a reminder for Friday around 9:30, just to remind myself that when we recorded, it could pop up, right? But it's like, if you had the opportunity, all fictional now, but you had the opportunity to go back and witness any Bible event or Bible story, which one would it be? I'm gonna just add in the caveat: you can't go back to creation and the fall, and you can't be during Jesus' time, because I just feel like they just like two default people where people won't go.
During Jesus' time and creation
and the fall.
Yeah, I would try to go to the fall for sure. What? I did that.
Got that. Got that. Got that.
Don't even think about it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I'm just witnessing, right? Like I can't interfere. Like I just could see firsthand.
Yeah.
Honestly, bro. Oh, let me think. Because there's some things in the Bible where I wish I could see this happen. I would probably try to go during the time of the apostles. I just don't know what time exactly. Because the day of Pentecost might be a good one. But then also, if I could be around John, the Revelator, you know, I think that would be a little interesting. But I guess he was seeing the visions. I don't know. I might just be watching him in a trance while he, you know what I mean? So I don't know about that. But like if I could witness the apostles, especially while they're in Greece, I could see how they ministered, like how they approach new converts. You know what I'm saying? Also, I could see firsthand how they worship, what day they worshiped. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a very common misconception that the apostles met on the first day to worship. Like they say that all of the texts in Acts that say, and all of the apostles met on the first day to break bread. People say that that means that they are worshiping, like that was like communion, you know what I'm saying? Like they were keeping. But they also have texts, you know, in the Bible and in the Gospels where on the Passover, during the Passover time, Jesus broke bread with the disciples and he said, "Do this in remembrance of me." You understand what I'm saying? So does that mean that is our Sabbath as well? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, different story for different time. But there's also a text in Acts where they broke bread, but they say something to say like, and this is what they did every day, like in context of breaking bread and meeting together. And then the argument could also be made like, should every day be the Sabbath? You know, and some people you take it there with some people they might take it there with you.
Day, boy.
Yeah, but so I mean, yeah, so that and then let me see, converting the Sabbath, speaking in tongues. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody want to get to the bottom of it.
I need to if I get out a first-hand account of some of these things, like we could settle this argument once and for all, you know. But other than that, I think taking away the Gospels is a big one. You know what I mean? Like taking away Jesus. That's a big one. So I think it'll probably be the apostles.
That's super interesting. I think I would have to choose Moses' time.
Okay.
It was like, I don't know, like I think the whole like Exodus story is what I would go back and look at. Like
you'd want to see the plagues?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Now I know it wouldn't be like a fun time because you've got a lot of stuff happening, but I think it would be like super cool to see like the plagues, to see them like the water, like the Red Sea, the Red Sea splitting, to see the pillar of fire and the pillar of cloud, like you just see like the awesomeness of God. And just see the temple, like the tabernacle, and looking at it, I'd pop away.
You wouldn't want to see the antediluvian world. See the
That was going to be my
dinosaurs.
second option, going back to Norse time.
See if you find any dinosaurs.
Bro, I want to see everything, bro. I want to see like that'd just be interesting, bro. Because like one to see what a perfect world would look like.
That's true.
To see like, bro, to see what I mean, God created things now, right? But to see like, bro, what he created and what he said it was good. You know, like to see what that actually looked like, to see what these people was actually capable of, to see how they was living, to see what the ark even looked like. Is everything we have, we just have like what we think it should be. And that's only, and it's funny, right? Because people try to take their technology now and their knowledge now and try to like cast it back. But suppose it look completely different.
That's what I always think, bro. Like I was watching a documentary on the Grand Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like, before I have knowledge on certain discoveries, I think like there's some big scientific process on how people come with their hypothesis. I don't know how to pluralize that word, but anyway, how they come with their that.
Hypotheses.
Right. So I was watching it, and it was on the Grand Canyon. This dude, and he was a student at the time. It was one of the guys who was very instrumental on dating the Grand Canyon. So, and they have it like 5 million years ago it was formed type thing, right? And he was saying, seashells in the Grand Canyon. So that was the first thing. Why are there seashells if the closest sea is so far away?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why are there like seashells? Then you see these fossils. Oh, this is a fossil of a fish. You know what I'm saying? In the Grand Canyon, you know? And then we look at the pattern. So like he might like dig into a part of the Grand Canyon, right? And then you might see a pattern of rock fossils facing a certain way. So that could show you that the stream was going in this direction as opposed to another direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so obviously they don't have a biblical standpoint there, right? But when you see these things, it's like you cannot deny the Great Flood. Like there are evidence. It's like, why are there fossils in the Grand Canyon? And also, how was this canyon formed? You know what I'm saying? Like they have a like their thing is, oh, this river was pushed to intersect this mountain, and the stream's pressure kept happening, and so that kind of carved into the canyon and whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you go and see the world beforehand. It kind of gives you a better understanding of how the flood impacted the world, and you know what I'm saying, and shows us the world that we left in today, like the canyons that I'm talking about, or certain rock formations, or certain mountains, like the way they're shaped. Oh, this is because of the impacts of water just pressing on this thing for a whole year. You know what I'm saying? Like these rocks, but these like really just compounds of dirt, really. So soaking water long enough, they could start to deteriorate, you know? So, yeah, it's crazy, bro.
But yeah, I think it's interesting, man, because like when you start thinking, because there's other honorable mentions, I would like to go back and see Elijah's showdown with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. That'd be pretty epic to go see. I like to see when the sun just gets stuck in the sky during the battle. I'd want to go see David and Goliath. How tall was Goliath really?
That's what I was just gonna say. How tall was Goliath? How tall was any of them people? You know what I mean?
Hey, and you say you read something one time and say Paul was only like 5 foot?
Yeah, like 5'2". And my boy was telling me he believed Paul was bow leg, like it was believed that he was like had a bow leg.
Where they get that one from?
I don't know, bro. Because I don't even trust this dude. You know, he's a theology major, but he's last time I checked, I had to mute him on Twitter, but last time I talked to him, he was talking like he didn't really have faith in Christ no more. You know what I mean? Like, you know, some people who going down a different path of research, and it kind of them to believe the falsities. Like that's how he's getting the talk. So I don't know if any of this is true, but I do know that people during this day and age are taller than in millennia past because of our accessibility to like different type of food and nutrients and stuff like that, and hygiene. All of these things really like improve our overall health.
Oh boy. Yeah. What's some other honorable mentions for you?
I was gonna say David and Goliath. I would like to see the Ark of the Covenant. You see what I'm saying? Wouldn't mind seeing ancient Babylon in its splendor. I would go back to Genesis to see the contribution that the Hebrews did to establishing like the city of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? I think the pyramids was already built then. I can't remember. Or maybe it wasn't.
What they say, bro.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, like my thing, it's like certain things, if I had the ability to witness things in the Bible, it would really be for my education. Witnessing these things would be awesome too. Like just from a wow standpoint, but I kind of want to answer certain questions. I want to see them cast lots. I want to see the Urim process
When the synonym.
and the Thummim, right? You know what I mean? And yeah.
That'd be interesting. Very, very interesting.
Oh,
right.
I gotta hold on, my bad.
Go for it.
I gotta see how some of these people look too. You know what I mean? Like Rachel, Leah, I gotta see them. Who else? Some of them, I gotta see Queen Esther. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta see the description. I gotta put a face to the description too.
I want to see Potiphar's wife, Rachel, Leah, Sarah.
Gotta heal up my boy Samson. See, we just in an imaginary world now.
Samson. I've got to stop by Samson time for real.
Imagine Samson look like me and you, bro.
That's the way. I strongly think that's how he looked, bro.
Because everyone was so shocked, bro.
Yeah, like, bro, how you get so strong, bro? Like,
yeah.
That's wild. Samson, our first episode ever.
Virgin.
All right. So after that, audience, let us know what you guys would want to go back or want to see. Do you agree with us? Did we forget something that was pretty revolutionary that we might have want to go check out? Yeah, let us know your thoughts.
Yep.
Now, Esther. So we are in Esther chapter 4. Right? Yes, we are in Esther chapter 4. And so last week, we saw a character by the name of Haman, who was the Agite, who was like the king's right-hand man, essentially. He had a devious plot. Super devious. He wanted people to start bowing down to him. This isn't even a devious part. He wanted people to start bowing down to him and giving him some type of worship. And then our boy, Mordecai, however you want to say his name, he was like, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Right? And then some people who was Haman's friends and Mordecai's, I guess, co-workers, pointed out Mordecai's defiance to Haman. And Haman was like, bro, I can't have this. So he hatched a plot and saying, you know what? I'm not only going to kill you, I'm going to kill all the Jews. Every last one. And he kind of, get the king to, in a backhanded way, pass the decree. Because the king didn't really care for real. The king was like, he didn't even tell the king, the people, his true plan. He just give him a ring, do as you wish. And then in the decree, your boy said, you know what, we are going to, on a certain appointed day, I forget the day at this point in time, but he said,
it was at the end of the year.
Yeah, that they was going to rise up and kill the Jews. And everyone around the whole city was very perplexed. So it was like, well, where this come from? So now in Esther chapter 4 is kind of where we're picking up from. So in verse 1, when Mordecai learned all that had happened, he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes and went into the midst of the city. He cried out with a loud and bitter cry. He went as far as the front of the king's gate, for no one might enter the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. And in every province where the king's command and decree arrived, there was a great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes.
Boy, that must have been a sad time. I didn't mean to laugh. I just was laughing because they were saying this was a loud cry. You know what I mean? And he's
Yeah,
taking that
boy.
cry on the road.
Mercy. I don't even know, like I can't even fathom, relate to what a decree is saying, bro. All of your people in all of these providences are going to be executed, bro.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Now, what also get me is how they just was. I'd have been like, all right, we got to go. Where we
Where you
going?
go?
I don't know, but we leaving the empire. The empire is vast, but we
You gotta
leaving the
go.
empire, buddy.
You gotta go beyond Ethiopia and India.
Wait, we going to the Great Khan.
Have fun.
We
Is that
going to the Great Khan.
How long that could take?
Buddy, I mean, if they hear, it might actually be easy to go down and go past India and go back in. I mean, go down past Ethiopia and go back in and go into Africa. That should be easier, honestly.
But they walking, bro.
Yeah,
All
but
catch
either way, they
water, huh?
walking. They got donkeys and horses, man. They got some donkeys and
They
things.
might if they got a little bit of change.
Hey, if you start now, you can make it out the empire. And when you get to the further stretches of the empires, they don't really care as more you get to the center.
But you don't know that. You don't know.
No, I don't. But I try to I just know I leaving.
You better hope to make it out by the before.
I gonna go take
That
my
decree.
chances with the Germanic tribes.
But it's so funny, bro. Some people might not even know how to get there. They might not even know. Like knowledge wasn't as prevalent as it is today.
Yeah,
But
buddy, that's a why.
some people, but not everybody had the option to even try to leave. You know what I mean?
That's the bad part.
Because you need food. You know what I mean? Like you need enough food and water to last you for weeks on your journey.
It was a lose-lose, way.
Yeah. Enough food and water for you on your camel.
You're looking at a map. No way is easy, bro.
You trying to trot?
No way, bro. Because like if you come in down, they say you're trying to get to Ethiopia, bro. Most of that is desert.
Yes.
And then you trying to go through Afghanistan and Pakistan, and then, bro, that's mountains.
Yes. Yes.
You no easy way to go about this.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah, but that's just a rock and a hard place right there.
For real. That's why they was crying. Everybody all over.
Honestly, but their best bet was to try to go towards Greece.
Their best bet was to try to click up and fight it out, bro. It didn't
That's
work
what
the
I
first
listening.
time, but
Oh my. So now we see. So now in verse 4. So Esther's maids and eunuchs came and told her, and the queen was deeply distressed. Then she sent garments to clothe Mordecai and take his sackcloth away from him, but he would not accept it. Mordecai said, I will not be consoled.
Mordecai, one thing with Mordecai, you don't waver, bro. When he make up his mind, that's that.
Then Esther called Hatach, however you want to say it, one of the king's eunuchs, whom he had appointed to attend to her. And she gave him a command concerning Mordecai to learn what and why this was. So Attach went out to Mordecai in the city square that was in front of the king's gate. And Mordecai told him all that had happened to him, and the sum of money that Haman had promised to pay into the king's treasuries to destroy the Jews. He also gave him a copy of the written decree for their destruction, which was given at Shushan, that he might show it to Esther and explain it to her, that he might command her to go into the king to make supplication to him and plead before her people. So Attach returned and told Esther the words of Mordecai.
You think Esther wasn't like aware?
You know,
Just think about it, bro. They didn't have a printing press, so everything was handwritten, right? So documents wasn't in abundance like we have today, right? So I think they're very efficient in their knowledge. And I could see you being in the palace and you know what I mean? And it just don't come out.
Just got posted outside the door or something.
Right. And you ain't been outside. I don't have to go outside.
Yeah.
I don't have to leave the palace. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I think he make an effort to give her a note. You know what I mean?
Hey, so now I just picture this. If someone say, "Hey Esther, you cool with Mordecai, right?" Yeah, me and him, we know him. I was growing up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he outside acting the fool right now. I thought you
should even coming up to the gate, but he ain't step foot in that gate now because you know that's illegal.
Hey, and I have to say, let's set up some clothes. No, I don't want these clothes.
Nope.
Dash, go find out what's happening to Mordecai, please. Because I just can't do this right now.
Get on with Gus, man.
Oh my. So verse 10, then Esther spoke to Attach and gave him a command for Mordecai. All the king's servants and all the people of the king's provinces know that any man or woman who goes into the inner court to the king, who is not being called, he has but one law, put all to death, except the one whom the king holds out the golden scepter, that he may live. Yet I myself have not been called to go into the king these 30 days. So they told Mordecai Esther words. That's a bad law, boy.
That's so interesting. If you come, because even today's day and age, you remember back in the day growing up, you could have just go by someone else. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like your friend come over and thing. Nah, but you have to text or call. You know what I mean? You don't just show up unannounced.
That's my rule, buddy. I'll tell you I come in and I still letting you know when I'm on my way.
Right. You can't just pull up unannounced, bro. And this king, Ahasuerus, Xerxes, he was big on that. You can't pull up on me, bro. As a matter of fact, but I'll put all to death unless I make an exception by holding out my scepter.
Think twice, buddy.
Think twice.
Think twice. And don't let me be in a bad mood.
That's it for you, bud.
Think twice.
But I just wonder why you don't hold out your scepter and hear what they gotta say, and then decide if you could put them to death or not. You know what I mean?
Because don't wait. He's saying, but I ain't. Remember, this is a man who at war. Don't come bother me unnecessarily, bro.
But you won't know if it's unnecessary unless you put out your scepter and accept.
You better come talking. You better come talking. Eh? Or the people who in my inner court, you better get the message to one of them and let me come and summon you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come off your own accord because you will lose your life. There's a law. Know the rules of the land. People just get mad at the game. When if you know the rules of the game, you just better play the game accordingly.
Yeah.
You see, Esther surely knew the rules. Esther say, buddy, you want me go there? Let me tell you how it works around here.
Yeah, let me tell you the rules, because you obviously never been Queen Mordecai. Let me show you how this happened.
Hey, you never been a part of the inner palace, buddy. We can't go to him.
I have not seen him in 30 days.
This is a definition of sit small until your name called.
Name called for real.
If he ain't called for you, you do not go.
30 days, I ain't see this man. Send him a message.
And he didn't want to see me.
No.
You gotta tell both sides of the story.
I'm telling you.
It's been a whole month, Mordecai. I haven't seen my husband. And he did not care to see me.
Right.
And now you want me to go someplace unannounced?
See, you worrying but us dying. Like, you
I gotta
sending
worry
me to
about
my
you
death.
dying?
Real dog. But then at this point, it's like, you have a possibility of not dying and saving us. And if you don't do it, you could die for sure. You know what I
Boy, oh
mean?
boy. So in verse 13, and Mordecai told them to Esther, do not think in your heart that you will escape the king's palace any more than all the other Jews.
Mm.
For if you remain completely silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. Yet, who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
Mordecai laid on a thick just now, bro. Mordecai said, but don't worry now. You could either be a part of the problem or part of the solution. You know what I'm saying? But just know, if you don't want to be a part of the solution, it still can get solved with or without you. But if you choose not to help, cursed is you in your father's house. That's my uncle. I love him to death, but bro, that's just how it is.
Bro, what's interesting, right? It's just so interesting the book of Esther just doesn't mention God. This right here would be like a perfect time to mention God. It's like he say everything but God just now, you know?
Right.
He's saying, bro, don't you think you're being appointed king? I'm like, bro, don't you think God put you here for this purpose right now? Like God knows what's going to happen. And guess what? Almost like the Hebrew boys, right? Bro, I don't, even if we don't get delivered right now, right? I ain't doing this, but it's almost like, bro, I know for a fact God could deliver us. It might not be because of you, but God can deliver us. But you not taking action right now when it's time to help your people, God can deal with you accordingly. But he say all that without saying God. But we as readers know what he implying.
Yeah, bro. I was watching a video that wasn't even really related to Esther.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually related to the name of God, Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody was making a distinction of all of the times the word Yahweh was used in the original Hebrew Aramaic text.
Mm-hmm.
And they was saying, oh, in Genesis, it was used this amount of time. It was something like 50 times. And then, no, well, they gone through the Torah and they gone through the prophets and they gone through Psalms. And it got progressively lower as it got to exile. So the minor prophets, their books were small. So that's obviously why it was lower, right? But then in the book of Daniel, there was a very small amount of times when they said the name Yahweh. And then they went, the person went to ask them, it was like they didn't say the name Yahweh at all during the book. And they went on to say that some people believe that post-exile is when the Jews adopted a mindset that God's name is too holy to
Yeah.
use. Because you remember that, right? Like, which is why, like, even in some Hebrew texts, they don't even say God's full name. Like in English, it would be YHWH. You see what I'm saying? Yahweh, they like abbreviate it, And we don't even know how to pronounce that name because how long they had stopped actually saying it. So as language progressed, right? The English language was formed, and we believe it would be pronounced Yahweh because it's just YHWH. It's like only vowels, no consonants or whatever. And so that's a theory why God was not mentioned at all in the book of Esther. You know what I'm saying? Because of the time that it was written and like the way they viewed saying God. It came a time and they keep saying like it came a time when the Jewish books were rewritten and they stopped even saying Yahweh and they said Adonai, right? And then when that get translated to English, we substitute Adonai with the Lord. That's why it's a sect of Bible believers or Christians who believe we shouldn't even be saying the Lord because that is a man-made tradition You know what I'm saying? And we should be calling God by his actual name, which is Yahweh, Yahuwah, Hamashiach. You know what I'm saying? Different story for different time. I don't know where I stand on that, but I do like it though. Like I do like when someone can
It's a
show
whole
me.
different discussion. I mean, like that's the whole discussion we should get into in a podcast episode. I know we got to listen to many episodes we should do, but I think it's actually an interesting conversation, right? Because I could spin off into like there's power in the name, right?
Right.
And if you ain't saying the full name, but do you truly have the power? And then that's a completely different debate that I am not fully prepared to get into at this moment. But continue your point.
And I only talking about Old Testament at the moment. Because when we get to Jesus, that's an even further layer of complexity added onto it, right? But in the Old Testament, like the original text, they actually write. That's why we know the name Jehovah or, you know what I'm saying, Yahusha or Yeshua. Like we know these names because they actually wrote God's name. You know what I'm saying? And like instead of saying I am the Lord your God, it would say I am Yah. In English, it would be translated to I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. You know what I'm saying? And so there was a sect of Judaism that believed God's name is too holy, too proper for us to say or write. So they demoted it to Adonai, which is Lord, and then we translate that to Lord. You know, and some people want to get back to the basics, get back to the originals and say his name. But anyway, the book of Esther does not mention God. Like it don't even reference him. Like it don't even say the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And some people believe it's because of the time, the era of Judaism, whereas they had already apostatized, which means they fell away or they backslid from the true essence of God, and now they're trying to get back to it, and now they overcompensating in order so that they don't fall victim to, you know, the punishment that they had already received. So
Yeah, I mean that's a good valid point in this good valid context. But yeah. But it is also an important lesson for us too. Going back to Esther, like God putting us in a position where we don't even know why at first. Remember we was talking about like, okay, yeah, like this Hebrew girl becoming queen, right? But God knew what was happening. God knew the heart. God knows the hearts of man. God knew what Haman was plotting in his heart, and God is going to help you in the position where you need to be, so that He can use you when He needs to use you. Now, here's the thing: we still have a choice, and we see Mordecai was emphasizing that choice to Esther. Guess what? You are right. You could choose not to trust God right now and be scared to go in front of the king. But maybe, just maybe, we serve a God who have you here for this very purpose. And maybe, just maybe, you will find favor in the king's eyes because God has you here for this purpose. But it's up to you to choose, and it's up to you to believe and trust God is going to deliver you. I can't force you, but do know this. If you choose not to, I have faith that God will still find a way to deliver us, irregardless of you. That you will make when option A fail, option B might be a little bit harder, take a little bit more time. But I believe in option B. But right now, I see you as option A, and I fully believe that God have you as option A. So it's interesting. Like I keep on telling people too, like yo, right now, whatever you're going through in life, whatever position God got you, high or low, you got to understand why God have you there and what lessons God trying to teach you, or what He trying to use you to do. And so you gotta evaluate your position in life no matter where you're at, because God have you where you need to be, even if you don't think you need to be there. And then sometimes you feel like when God tells you, bro, it's time for you to move. It's time for you to get out your comfort zone. It's time for you to do something else. It's time for you to make a different move. But you could feel it. Now a lot of us humans we get trapped in our comfort. We get trapped in what we want to do. But, you know, and I feel like I keep getting off topic, but, you know, you got to trust God to lead and guide you. And we see Mordecai saying, bro, well, sis, right now is your time. God has called you to this purpose, and it's up to you to walk in it, but I believe that God has called you to this purpose.
Amen.
Which verse am I on? 13?
15.
Mordecai told them to Esther, oh yeah, bang. So now verse 15. And then Esther told them the reply to Mordecai. go gather all the Jews who are present in Shushan and fast for me. Neither eat nor drink for 3 days, night or day. My maids and I will fast likewise. And so I will go to the king, which is against the law. Just
Just reminder.
it's just a reminder of why we fasting and praying. But if I perish, I perish. Oh, no, whatever. Y'all want me to say. Because I think someone say, oh, you say A and not an E. Anyway, if I perish, I perish. Oh my. What are your thoughts?
But fasting 3 days, 3 nights, no food or drink. That's a serious fast. It's a very serious fast. Some things cannot be answered except, I ain't gonna say answered, but some things can't be achieved without prayer and fasting.
I know it was your line. I want you to get it out. I know it was coming. I didn't want to steal that from you.
Oh yeah, bro. But that drink though, you know what I mean? Like, okay, 3 days without food.
Sure.
I rolling. Because the first day is the hardest. After you get through that first day, the first day really seemed like I can't do this. You know what I mean? After you get through that first day, that second day, you might not really have an urge to eat. You see what I'm saying? Like your senses start to get numb. That third day, you could be a little woozy now. I ain't gonna lie. Boy, you could be thirsty. Anyway, to God be the glory. And so I ain't gonna lie, it was kind of compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Mordecai he had to, I ain't gonna say, I wouldn't use the term son. Like, I don't want to say son. He had to school on something real quick. Like, hold on, ask the break. And he was sad too. He just finished crying. He wearing sackcloth, so he give it to us straight. Like, but I ain't gonna lie, but
We'll flop it up.
But real talk, bro. Either you down or you ain't, bro. Like, he had to talk to, like, bro, I know you in the palace. You think everything peachy keen, but bro, don't think you ain't gonna get killed just because you're in the palace now, bro. And if you don't help us, and God help us in some other way, but your father's house, you and your father's house will perish, bro. He tell that straight up, bro. He basically saying if you don't help, you could die. Like, we don't have no proof of that. You know what I mean? But he basically say, bro, if you want to be stuck up with your gift, bro, don't think you are not going to be unaffected. You will be affected. You see what I'm saying? And so now,
go for it. Go, keep going.
They'll put a battery in our back to say, all right, cool. Even though it's illegal and I risked my life to do this, it's for the greater good.
And I was going to say, the reason why I think that's so powerful, right? Because think about it, up until this point, what has he told her? Do not tell anyone you are a Jew.
Right.
And that's a piece of context we missed in this episode particularly, right? So he said, bro, don't think you won't be affected because guess what? No one knows you're a Jew.
Right.
So it's easy for her. I mean, just think about it, like human perspective, like, bro, ain't no one know I a Jew. Yeah, y'all might die, but
I can slip through the crowd.
Exactly. I is the queen, bro. Bro, I ain't the Jewish queen. I am the Persian queen who just so happens to be Jewish, but I am the Persian queen. You know, when I was a Jew, so I tell everybody, I just is a queen. You know, know where I come from for real. So it's interesting to think as just basically human logic, bro. I might escape this, but he's saying don't get lost in the false comfortability you have in the palace right now. Don't think this will leave you unscathed. You too will die just like us. And it's funny too, right? Because it's like, we know how the story ends, right? But I about to go down a hypothetical road for a minute. And granted, Earl talking, not proof. We have no way of proving this. But let's just say she decided to go the other way, bro. I have a feeling, it's just Earl talking now, that the truth might have come, but she's a Jew.
I believe that.
In another way, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, all right, you didn't want to like stand up for me. So why am I standing up for you right now?
I think the king officials know didn't know she was a Jew. But I don't think no one knew she was a Jew. Because the eunuchs see you with Mordecai all the time, bro. You see what I'm saying?
Your maids know.
The people in your neighborhood might have see you. One or two people who are not Jews. You know what I mean? Oh, she used to be with your boy. And by some random person would have seen
No.
you associated with Jews, right? And they could be wondering why all the Jews dead except you. So they might just mention it to someone, mention it to their friend. You know, she's a Jew, right? Yeah, but she's a Jew. Not even hating. Yeah, she was the only one who gets spared mostly because she's the queen. You know what I mean? Then someone who could be hating be like, boy, King or Haman, I got some news for you.
You
You
missed
see what I
one.
saying? You miss one. You see what I saying? And you never know where that can go.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So I mean, that's the end of the chapter. If you want to do the next chapter, I kind of lost track of time.
I think, yeah, that's the end. Yeah, we did finish. I no, my bad. I was trying to remember if we said the last verse or not.
Oh, the last verse. Yeah. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther commanded him. Yeah, I did leave him from parish.
Yeah. So no, I think we somewhere around like the 40 something minute mark. So I don't think we need to go into another one.
That's fine.
Yeah, because the next one it could kind of blend into.
Yeah, it's a one for its own. Like we can just leave that for its own thing. So overall, like thoughts, like I guess sum it up.
Fasting and prayer. That's number one. Although they don't mention prayer, this is a very fascinating book. Like whoever the author was, might not even be a Jewish author of this book. You see what I'm saying? I didn't do the research, but it is Jewish history and it's biblical history relevant to the overarching timeline and story of God's people. But fasting and prayer, you look like you got something to say.
I just saying that's so funny too, right? Because, bro, why mention prayer if you ain't mentioning God? Because who you praying to?
Right, but why we mention fasting if we ain't mention prayer? You catch what I say?
I get it, right? And that's what's so interesting about Esther, bro, because it's all implied.
Yes.
It's all implied, but it's just never explicitly said.
Yes. Sackcloth and ashes. Growing up, I've watched the Esther cartoons, so I'm familiar with sackcloth and ashes. I asked him, I say, so why they put sackcloth and ashes? Man, he tells me that's what they did during the time when they were in mourning or in great sorrow, right? But for some reason, I had the impression that I would read more about sackcloth and ashes in the Bible. But it's only a handful of times that you even see somebody in this sackcloth and ashes. You see, I believe Nehemiah might have worn it when he was during his mourning phase. You know what I'm saying? I can't even think of no one else, bro. But I'm sure I'm missing tons of people before this. But sackcloth and ashes to me, that's an example of repentance right there and mourning, right? And prayer. Also fasting, that's another example of prayer. You know what I'm saying? There's a hint that if Esther doesn't work it out, it's gonna happen. How do we know that if we don't think it's something divine that is working for the good of God's people? You know what I'm saying? All of this is implied, and it's almost like the author, like their intent was to exclude God. I don't know if it's for the right or for the wrong, because obviously this is God's inspired word, you know what I'm saying? It still made it, it still do its job, you know? But we can see God's, even in the midst of this seemingly just like regular historic account, we can see God's hand and footprint interwoven throughout the plot. One thing that's not lost on me is that this is another time in the Bible where God's people are suffering persecution because of the way they worship, not bowing down to idols. This just like Daniel and the Hebrew boys. They didn't want to bow down. You see what I'm saying? bow down or die. You know what I'm saying? And it goes towards end time prophecy. The Persian Empire represents the second beast in Revelation. You know what I'm saying? The bear with the three ribs in its mouth, you know? And they were a beast system. If you don't worship, you die. You see what I'm saying? Like, and this theme, I above all, I wish that a lot of Christians understand the correlation between big empire and worship. You know what I'm saying? If this big empire, they get so greedy to the point where they want you to worship them as God. Whatever I say go, I am making a decree and it impacts the way you worship. And if you don't answer, and if you don't oblige, you die. We kill you. You know what I'm saying? This is that was the Daniel and the Hebrew boys was in that situation. Even King Ahab, bro, like King Ahab, they was killing all the prophets. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta worship Baal or die. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, like that's how it was, and that's a consistent theme in the Bible. But worship this way or die. You know, and I want people to just keep that in mind because some of the hints are there, and it shouldn't be lost on us that these are things that will happen again. So when we think about the different types of beasts in Daniel, we compare them to Revelation. They have so many similarities. You know what I'm saying? And in Revelation, they talk about the dragon, which is the devil. They say that in Revelation, the dragon is that old serpent, the devil, waging war against the people of God that keep the commandments and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. The testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy that is revealed in Revelation 19, chapter 19. And so I say all that to say, it might seem like a story, you know what I'm saying? It might seem like something that is so far past us, where people get persecuted for their religious beliefs. But please bear in mind that there are people in the world right now getting persecuted for their religious beliefs. People getting persecuted for being Christian. In some certain countries, bro, you cannot evangelize in this country. That is illegal. Yep. You know what I'm saying? It is illegal to convert. You go to an Islamic country, it's illegal to convert an Islamic person out of Islam. You know what I'm saying? That is illegal. You could even Google stories of Christians being arrested for spreading Christianity, killed, stuff like that. These things happen today, right? But us in the free world, in the Western part of the world, it seems foreign to us, and it seems like it's impossible, But it's nothing new under the sun. That's Ecclesiastes. And there is a time, prophetically, there's a time that says that the children of God, will suffer persecution in the same way. And so just as the Jews, they use this time to depend on God, you know what I'm saying? We need to have the mindset to be fully dependent on God for such a time as that. The Jews in every province are in trouble, and Queen Esther may be the only one that can save them. The problem is, she can't petition the king's throne without invitation. Doing so is punishable by death. But if she doesn't, the fate of her people is at stake. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by Ayana Gay, as well as your host, Nakhaz Gay. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.